Welcome back, guys. Today's going to be a little bit more of a pep talk, but I want to go over the fear of failure and as well as what goals do you have? Do you even know what your goals are? If you were to die, let's say in 24 hours, you'd be put in your deathbed, you'd suffer a medical emergency, wake up in the hospital, and then you would be told you were dying. What regrets would you have? If you do put yourself in that scenario, what comes to mind? Do you have any regrets? Do you wish you would have gone somewhere? Wish you would have seen something? Wish you would have done something? Wish you could have been something? What comes to mind if you put yourself in a scenario where you're told you only have a few hours left to live, maybe a week max? Are you going to just spend the time with the family? Is there small-term goals you might be able to achieve? Are you going to go for those? What are you going to do? One of the reasons I'm making this video is because I was talking to one of my gym partners, and he was telling me he didn't even know what goals he had. He is working a constant job, the 9-to-5 grind, and then he'll get off, go to the gym, take care of the housely duties, and then see his wife, and it's already bedtime by that time, And I asked him, what goals do you have? And he's like, man, I don't know. I've never thought about it. And I'm like, how can you not have any goals? And he's like, well, I guess if I really thought about it, I might want a truck. I'm like, that's great, man. I'm like, so what are you doing to get closer to that goal? Are you just dreaming about a new truck when you lay down and, when you wake up in the morning, you're like, man, that was nice owning that truck, but, I'll own it tomorrow night, Or are you, oh my gosh, maybe I really do want a truck. I've been wanting one for a few years now, and I think it's about time I start, setting the motion, starting to try to achieve my goal. And in doing so, for his example, you'd want to be starting to, make a different source of income if you didn't have enough income to be able to set aside some cash back. And if you did make enough income where you could set some cash back, you don't have to be a lot. I mean, if you set back $10 in a week, for a truck down the road, you're way ahead of, your past self that wasn't even setting back any money for that truck. And the reason I want to get into this is because I feel like a lot of people are like my gym partner. They are working a 9-to-5. They do have family stuff going on. They don't have a lot of time for themselves. They're constantly, on their free time, they're constantly consuming content. So there's not enough time of alone time where they can just think for themselves and have these creative thoughts come to mind. And so if you don't have these thoughts, you're not going to be able to understand what goals you may even have, right? And another thing is a lot of these people that do have goals, let's say that I was to ask you what goals you had, and you come back with, man, I want to be stronger. I want to compete in a bodybuilding competition, take first place. Okay. Even if you are preparing for that, if you're doing stuff to meet that goal, how many of you have it written down? I want you guys to Google search something after this video, or you can do it right now, open up a new tab, and I want you guys to Google what percentage of goals are actually achieved by people that don't write their goals down. Most studies are going to say that people achieve around 10% of their goals if those goals aren't even written down. However, if you write those goals down, you increase it from 10 to 50 to 80%. That's a 50 to 70% increase in the probability of you attaining your goals just by you writing it down. And I do this with my mirror in my bathroom. I do it here in Fulton. I do it here in Oxford. My bathroom, I write down my goals. If you guys want to do exactly what I do, I get an expo marker or dry erase marker. I go up to my mirror and I pick a corner, whichever one I like, and I write, grow my relationship with Christ, become stronger, practice martial arts, make all A's, study, use my time wisely. The stuff that I really have struggled with in the past, I write that down. So every morning when I'm getting ready, I get out of the shower. Every night I get out of the shower, I look at the mirror. Maybe I'm even checking myself out and I get in the mirror. But those goals are still there. And even if I don't read them every night or every morning, subconsciously I'm seeing them. They're there. They're in my vision. Sometimes I'll look at them and I'll read them. That reinforces it. I think it helps keep me more oriented and, as far as doing everything in my power and putting forth efforts to attain those goals quicker and not getting sidetracked in life. But you have to write your goals down. Why would you not want to write your goals down if it's going to increase your percentage of success by 50, 70%? That's a big increase. And when you write these goals down, I want you to categorize them. I want you to categorize what's going to be a short-term goal. You know, if you're 200 pounds and you want to drop down to 190 pounds, I consider that to be a shorter term goal than, you know, owning a $400,000 house, right? You have to categorize them and make them into subcategories of short term, long term goals. And that way you know what is more attainable, what's going to be easier to attain, what's going to be quicker to attain. But you also have it where you know that it's going to take longer for these goals to, you know, manifest. So you're not going to get disappointed and get discouraged when you don't get it within a year or 2 years or maybe even 3 years. Maybe even take 5 years for you to even see these long-term goal manifest itself, right? Because the things that we want the most are usually the things that take the most work. For me, I want to, you know, compete in national powerlifting. You know, it'd be great if I could even place top 3 in national powerlifting competition. Right now, I've been setting myself up, you know, really trying to get my numbers up, keeping myself as safe as possible while I'm trying to increase my maxes. And eventually, I'm going to compete again. But I want to make sure I'm ready before I go in and compete. But that is a longer term goal. Now, a shorter term goal for me is going to be making all A's in the semester, right? Because that is what I'm currently in. When you write this down, you need to be thinking, as soon as you're up, your feet hits the ground in the morning, what am I going to do today that is going to put me closer to these goals I have? And let me tell you, it's not just going to be, oh, I'm going to go to work. Yeah, you may be able to bring in some money to help yourself get closer to those goals. But what are you doing outside of work that you're actively pursuing that goal with? Are you looking for other ways to make a side income, a different income stream? So after you determine what your goals are, such as wanting to buy a new house, wanting a new truck, what should you do? Start saving money. Start looking for houses, start looking for trucks, start figuring out what it's even going to cost. Because if you're like, yeah, I'd love a new truck, what do you even want? You want a new house, what house do you even want, right? You need to visualize it in such a detailed manner that it seems more like a plan than a dream. And that's what's going to make it easier to achieve that goal and make it more realistic for you. Because once you create a plan towards your dream, it's no longer a dream, it's a plan. Tomorrow is not promised. I'm not promised tomorrow. You're not promised tomorrow. And if you know this, which everybody should know this, what would you have done differently today? More than likely you're watching this at night. What could you have done differently throughout your day today had you known that you wouldn't wake up tomorrow morning? Had you known that you would drop dead of a heart attack randomly tomorrow and you wouldn't even have time to hit the gym again, Would you have worked out harder the day before? Would you have spent more time with your girlfriend, with your wife, with your family more, the first day, right? What would you have done differently today? Now, if you said you would do anything differently, why aren't you doing those things? Is it because you just don't want to do them, or you just feel like you don't have enough time? If you feel like you don't have enough time, why is that? Are you already chasing another goal right now? Are you chasing another dream? That's why you feel like you have no time? You have to prioritize what's important to you. So if you said you'd change anything, I urge you to start prioritizing a little bit better, because obviously it means that you want to be doing something other than what you're doing. And sometimes in life you have to do the shit you don't want to do, and sometimes you just don't have the damn time. I understand that. But I'm saying if you're working the 9 to 5, you got it made as far as, you're able to sustain yourself, your family, everything's fine, and, but you're just that. You're just fine. You're average. You're not looking to be better. And when you see somebody else is working harder or trying to make something for themselves, you're like, why are they even doing that? They're not even going to make it. But what if they did? Every time for me, I post on social media, I post on YouTube, I'm rolling the dice. Maybe one of my videos would take off and I'd blow up, overnight. It's possible. It's happened to other people before. Some people are like, why are you even doing YouTube? You're wasting your time, but to me, it feels like if I can get anybody, a little bit ahead, a little bit better than what they were, or give them advice that's beneficial to them and they'll take with them and they might pass on to someone else, I've done my job, even if it's just one person. That I feel very accomplished off of that. So take the time to figure out what goals you may have if you don't already know what they are. And if you do know what they are, write them down, categorize them, and then make a plan for them. And now I want to ask you, if you have goals and you haven't been pursuing them, why not? I think the answer is failure. I could be going YouTube for 5 years, 10 years, and I might not ever see success from it. But I enjoy doing it. And my goal is not to become crazy famous or anything like that. My goal is to build a positive community and help people and give people the information I didn't have when I was younger, and kind of give them a stepping stone. I'm just a stepping stone for them. I want to see everybody, become better than I was and You know, at my age, when I first started out lifting, I want them to be smarter than me. I want them to be better than me when they get older. I want them to eventually have a better physique than me. I want them to be stronger than me. And I want them to do better in the gym and out of the gym. That's my goal. That's my goal. So let me ask you this. Are you not pursuing your own goal because you fear failure? Are you not pursuing it because you feel like, yeah, I'm just going to waste my money, I'm going to waste my time? Because let me tell you something, I can say I've wasted a lot of money. You know, I've bought a $600 camera right here. I've bought plenty of equipment, you know, and it's, you know, I haven't seen a dime from YouTube. I don't expect to see a dime from YouTube. I don't want to see a dime from YouTube because this is something I enjoy doing. You know, I want to be good in powerlifting. I buy belts. All this around me in here, everything in here, you know, at least $3,000 in the equipment in here, at least in just the equipment, not alone with the smaller stuff that's in this whole shop. And this was all built because of my passion and my goals, was because I wanted to provide a nice place for me and my brothers to be able to come over here and work out. And by brothers, I mean my fellow gym goers that were here in Fulton when I was younger in high school. I wanted to build a good environment for us to always be able to have to come over here and work out because, you know, some of my friends couldn't afford gym memberships. And, you know, you can't work out at the complex at the high school all the time. So I was like, you know what, I'll just make my own gym. And this way we'll always have a place to come to work out. You know, when COVID came around, this was here for us. And it gave us a place to work out without, you know, being restricted or not having gym access. And this place allows me to come down here and make content for you guys in a gym setting, give you guys instructional tutorial videos. I mean, this is a great setup, and I'm very blessed to have been able to have the finances to put this up and have the passion about the sport to want to do this. Because I could have blown my money on a lot of other things. But everything I try to do is trying to set myself up to achieve my goals in the future, because this right here, everything around that you can see right now, this being here and this being used by me has definitely got me closer to my goal of competing in a national powerlifting competition. I can guarantee that. And on my mirror, becoming stronger, it has done that as well. Over on this side where you can't see is a martial arts section. And having this mat right here where I can spar, I can roll around. I have a heavy bag right here. I got a lot of equipment over here. It gives me the ability to come in here and train martial arts every day, which is something I wanted to do. It's something I continue to do because it's my goal. I want to be physically fit. I want to be strong. And there are just smaller goals along the way, such as, you know, making good grades and studying more. I was injured. I broke my AC joint. I tore my hamstring 3 different spots in the same year. I was put out for over a year. I was praying. I was really struggling in my life at that point because I couldn't work out. I couldn't do martial arts. The two things I loved and I valued the most were taken away from me with those injuries. I couldn't do any of them. But you know what I did? I went to my other goals. I started, you know, at first I was upset, but afterwards I was like, okay, well, if I just can't have those things, I'm going to have to start putting my time and looking for other goals. And I'm going to have to reflect inward at what will make me happy. And what do I want to do if I can't do these things? So I started strengthening my relationship with God. I started, you know, focused on my academics more because everything else that had been around me, you know, were taken away. But because I had these other goals and aspirations, I had something to fall back on. And so I think that helped. And I think that, you know, I also went into shooting more, you know, just working on my aim, you know, working on being better with firearms, which is, you know, another passion of mine, but I just don't have a lot of time to do it because all these other goals are just more important to me. But there are goals that I have, and I really urge you to figure out what your goals are. But sometimes I have tests. Sometimes I fail those tests, even if I do study a lot for them. And yes, it's discouraging, but I don't give up. I keep going. I've had to retake courses before because I just couldn't get them, organic chemistry being one of them. And it's a little embarrassing to say that because I'm just too damn stupid to understand it. And some people will be like, wow, you're really smart. You know, they'll look at the 400 or 500 level courses I've taken all the way up to Cal 4 on my mathematics. And you can't understand chemistry. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed about it. But from each attempt, I learned something new until I finally got it done. It took me 3 times before I passed organic. Chem 2, that is. I got lucky with organic Chem 1. Everything's not going to come the first time. And I feel like a lot of people just see it as a daunting task. They look at the new house. They look at way far ahead of these longer term goals. And it just seems such a daunting task to take the first step towards those goals. So they just never even move towards them. It's really easy to mentally masturbate yourself over the idea of something rather than doing it. Because I'm sure you guys have these buddies and these friends that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go here. But they are usually the ones that aren't even doing anything. Nothing. Because they're always talking about it. They're always talking about it. And when you talk about stuff and you don't do it, you wind up becoming complacent. So if you talk about something, be sure you're doing it, because words do have power. They have power over you, and I think they have power over the stuff around you. You can speak stuff into existence, good or bad. And I want to end the video with this. If you couldn't fail, if failure was not even a possibility, how big would your dreams be? What would you dream about? It's almost like having anything you could imagine. Because if you couldn't fail, there's no reason you couldn't have anything. If I wanted to go out and start a business and, make a multi-million-dollar business and I couldn't fail about it, I'd be a millionaire. I really want you to think, how big would you dream without failure? So I want to leave you with this. If you don't have any goals, you don't even know what they are, spend time alone. Think about it. You don't have to come up with them now. You don't have to come up with them tonight. But give yourself a little bit of time. Think about it. Write them down. Categorize them. Short term, long term. Make a plan for it. What do you want? Write down the specifics. Set up a plan. If you want that truck, if I start saving this amount for this long, how long is it going to take me before I can, buy that truck, buy that house? If I want to compete in a bodybuilding competition, how far away am I from competing? Am I going to have to, do a bulk and a cut before I'm even at the weight I want to be and the size I need to be able to perform as well as I want to, right? And if you're doing these and you're going through your life and you're trying to get closer to those goals, and if something does happen in between along the way, you know the amount of work you put in, even if you never reached them because your life was cut short or something awful, occurred. You wouldn't have any regrets because you knew you were doing exactly what you should have been doing at that given time to reach those long-term goals. And if nothing happens to you, eventually you will reach these long-term goals, and you will thank yourself for not coming home, not jumping on the couch and, snacking on unhealthy foods, and then going to bed and, waking up doing the same thing the next day. You can't be complacent in life and expect stuff to fall in your lap. Most people just aren't that lucky. I hope you guys have a good night, a good morning whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.